All right, let's dive into one of the most luxurious, most mysterious, and, let's be honest, most ridiculously expensive foods on the entire planet, the truffle. So what's the deal with this weird, lumpy fungus that makes chefs go crazy and wallets cry? To get things started, let's just throw a number out there, $5,000. Now that's a whole lot of money for pretty much anything, right? But what this number is for, well, that's where things get really wild. Yep, $5,000 per pound. All of a sudden, that fancy steak you had last week seems like it came from the dollar menu. A price that high, you just know there's got to be an incredible story behind it. And that is the big question we're tackling today. Seriously, how does a fungus that grows in the dirt become more valuable than some precious metals? Think of this as a detective story. We're going to follow the clues to figure this whole thing out. Okay, so our first clue is hidden, like deep underground. You see, a truffle isn't a solo act. It can't just pop up wherever it wants. No, its entire life story is tied to a secret partner, a tree. And this whole partnership is built on a really cool biological idea called symbiosis. Now, this isn't one-sided. It's not a parasite situation. It's a team effort, a total win-win where two completely different organisms help each other thrive. It's basically the perfect deal. The tree is up there, soaking in the sun, making all these sugars, pure energy, and it feeds some of that down to the fungus on its roots. And in return, the truffle's network of tiny threads acts like a super-powered root system, reaching out and grabbing water and minerals that the tree could never get to on its own. It's a beautiful trait. So the truffle has its home, it's got a steady food supply, but hang on. This leads us to the next big piece of the puzzle. If this thing lives its whole life buried underground, how in the world does it spread its genes? How does it make more truffles? See, here's the truffle's big problem. It's not like a mushroom that can just puff its spores into the wind and call it a day. The truffle is trapped. To get its DNA out into the world, it needs help. It needs an accomplice. And get this, the truffle's entire game plan for survival hinges on one thing. It has to be found, dug up, and eaten by an animal. The spores just pass right through the animal's gut and, well, get planted somewhere new, hopefully near another partner tree. It's the highest stakes game of hide and seek you can imagine. Now, this whole needing an animal thing is a huge reason truffles are so rare, but it's also why we can't just farm them easily. And that brings us to the biggest scientific head-scratcher of them all. The main reason you can't just plant these in a greenhouse. I mean, it's pretty basic biology, right? For most complex life, you need two genetic parents to make a baby. Sounds simple enough. But with truffles, it's anything but. So researchers have actually gotten halfway there. They figured out how to find and grow the maternal part of the truffle. That's the web-like structure that connects to the tree roots and eventually forms the truffle itself. So they've got the mom. But that's where they hit a brick wall. Where is the father? The paternal partner that's needed to kick off the whole process? It's a ghost. Nobody knows where it is, what it looks like, or how it even works. And without that second parent, you can forget about reliable, large-scale truffle farming. It's just not going to happen. Okay, so let's recap. We've got a fungus that needs to be eaten to survive, but it's totally hidden underground. So how does it, advertise? It uses its most famous feature, that powerful, amazing smell. This is where the evolutionary genius really kicks in. That smell that we call earthy or musky, it's not for us. It's a very specific chemical signal designed to perfectly mimic the mating pheromones of animals like wild pigs. So here's how the hunt goes down. An animal, like a pig or these days a specially trained dog, catches a whiff of that smell. Their brain screams mate and they start digging like crazy. But instead of finding a partner, they find a truffle. The animal gets a snack, and the truffle hits the jackpot. Its genes get spread all over the forest. We humans just figured out how to jump in the middle of this whole process. So yeah, that incredible aroma isn't just some happy accident of nature. It's a weapon. It's a carefully designed, highly targeted, and absolutely essential tool for survival. It's literally an invitation to be eaten. Okay, we've followed all the clues. We've looked at the secret tree partnership, the problem of getting around, that huge reproductive mystery, and the secret of its scent. Let's put it all together and finally solve this case. So here's the final answer. The crazy price tag on a truffle comes from a perfect storm of reasons. First, they're incredibly rare. They only grow with certain trees.
Second, they're hard to find. You need trained animals to sniff them out from underground. And the biggest reason of all, they're completely unpredictable. Because without finding that missing parent, we just can't farm them reliably. We're totally at the mercy of nature.
And that leaves us with a really interesting final thought. What if we do crack the code? If scientists finally figure out the whole reproductive mystery, and we can grow truffles as easily as tomatoes, what happens then? Does all the magic, the thrill of the hunt, the allure of something so rare and wild, does all of that just disappear? It really makes you wonder what we value more, having the thing itself or the mystery that surrounds it.